So here we go. Giddy up. So as far as I'll let the partners introduce themselves, but I know some of you know our partners on the call, some of you might, but I also know that any realtor who has experienced any success in real estate is used to being harassed by vendors constantly. So I just want to let you know that's not going to happen here. Nothing what we do with our platform is possible without the support of our partners. So they're not here today to sell themselves. I'm sure they would be glad to connect with you after if they can help in any way. But the reason I invited them on the call today is, they're experts in their areas, just like you're experts in yours. And so I just believe that they can be great resources to lean on, just working through these obstacles. So I'll go in order, at least to my knowledge of when people hopped on. Janelle, if you might go in first, just name, company, how long you've been doing what you've been doing. And then we'll let Kevin go. He's driving, so I can't see what he's doing. And then Tammy. So go ahead, Janelle.
I'm Janelle Iaccino. I've been with Pest Solutions for 15 years. Some people call me the rat lady. I prefer not to be called that, but I'm your guy.
Kevin Camden, Camden Law Office, creeping up on about 25 years, helping people protect their real estate investments.
Tammy, I think you're muted. We lost her. Okay. So that is, I just want to get all the, okay, she said pass. So let's jump in the bulk of the call. So I love for, this is your time. Like I say, I've realized I want to do the brief introductions and all that, but the more I talk, the less people are going to get out of this. And I understand that. So let's just kind of dive in, and anybody dive in, how the market feels, any new strategies that you've maybe implemented since COVID that's been working, or even something that's not working. And so Dennis, if you seem pretty knowledgeable on the subject, would you mind kind of going first? And these are designed to ask each other questions. I actually have some, if there's like a 27-second awkward pause, I have some stuff that'll help the conversation. But I realized real quick when I'm talking to successful realtors, there's usually not a lull in conversation ever. But if it does happen, I do have some backup for ammunition. So Dennis, I'd love to hear your thoughts, what you've been doing, and just your take on the market or anything that you've been doing that seems to be working.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all pretty busy right now, which is amazing to still be kind of rocking and rolling here as we roll through July. Usually by first or second week in June, it's like the spring market has hit a brick wall and trying to figure out what I'm going to do for the rest of the year. So it's been busy. Being that we're all kind of neurotic in this business, I have a huge fear with everybody at home so much that, there's plenty of different avenues to search for real estate. I think a lot of people are doing a lot of self-reflection on where they want to be, where they want to live, the fact that maybe they're no longer, going down to an office to work. But I'm just doubling down on communicating to my sphere. I mean, that's all I've really done, but I just want to make sure that I stay in front of my database, my friends, my family, and they know that I'm here to help them if they're thinking about making a change. But I'm just literally hammering the phones all day long, talking to people I know and just making sure they're not doing any online real estate shopping without, if that makes sense, because I think it's a real possibility. People have a lot of downtime, they're at home. So that's what I'm doing. I mean, it's that simple. That's it. I just solved all of our problems. So
Dennis, how many listings do you have right now?
I think I probably have, why don't I not have that in front of me? I think I have 8 listings on the market right now.
Have you seen, I guess my question for everyone though is, so like post-COVID, post-protests, I had a bunch come on the market, and then I had a couple of them that didn't go under contract. And I've kind of just been stagnant on those, probably since 4th of July, and specifically in River North.
Yes.
Anyone seeing the same thing, or any advice on how to get some of these stagnant listings that have been on for now 30 days and haven't had a lot of activity in the last like 2 to 3 weeks?
I'll let somebody else talk, but all my River North, Streeterville, downtown stuff has been the battle.
Mine too. And I like the little ones, like the, 1 bed plus dens, like I'm not getting any traction.
That's where my pain is as well. 100%. Anybody else have something down there?
I do quite a bit of business. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I do quite a bit of business in River North, deal with a lot of investors, which is a lot of my business. And what I've noticed just very recently is that the rental market is not as good as it was. So if you do deal with investors who need to get something rented, that has been a little bit more of a challenge that we've noticed just actually in the past couple weeks. I don't know if any of you noticed that or not, but that's a little bit of a challenge for me right now.
Yeah.
I do think it's probably easier to get listings right now because at least down in River North, I'm not saying they're going to sell, but it's a little bit easier to get them, I think, because we have seen, I live in Lake Forest, and I do have some business on the North Shore, and we have noticed, this is very interesting, almost a 90-degree shift in the graph. If you had a graph that was flat, it was flat through May, and in June, it's almost a 90% straight shoot up in terms of business on the North Shore, particularly Lake Forest, and they're all coming from downtown Chicago, the big majority. So that's kind of telling you something of what's going on and everything downtown. So it might be a little bit easier to get listings, but selling them might be another issue.
Yeah. Everyone's getting the heck out of downtown, I think is what that says, Sharon.
Yeah, I guess you're putting it more bluntly than I was, but you're absolutely right. Yeah. And I've seen that in the smaller units. And then I have a couple of friends of mine who are in $1 million plus penthouses downtown who are also moving, who were not going to move earlier. So,
yeah.
Do you think there'll be price drops?
We haven't seen that yet because of the lack of, it's interesting because a lot of people weren't going to sell, I think, who were thinking of it because of COVID and what's happened. And so that has made the inventory less, which is probably why the pricing has stayed. Actually, there, as most of you I'm sure know, there hasn't really been a drop in prices, but I think that even Cranes, there have been a couple articles where they're maybe predicting it later on in the year. They are predicting that short sales and foreclosures may be going up, certainly not like what happened in 2008 or 9 or 10 after the quote unquote crash, but we might be seeing that a little bit later on, because right now there's, the forbearance, and so we haven't run into that as much, but we might in about 6 months. Could I get someone's opinion on that? I don't know if anyone agrees with me or not.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so 30-day delinquencies are up in mortgages, which is usually indication. I mean, it's still very early, but there's not on the foreclosure yet. But I think popular opinion would say that there's some recessionary type of activity coming on the housing market. Some of them are still in the forbearance ability and a period, and those that were not able to file for forbearance, or maybe their jobs are not going back, and then uncertainty around the unemployment. I think we'll see some, but I'm certainly not a chicken little, the sky is falling. I think if that is a reality in one place and it's opportunity somewhere else. So Christina, I would say that your haircut, number one, looks awesome on you. I love short hair on you. So that was number one.
Oh, thank you. It actually looks just like your headshot. When you got off there for a second, I was like, oh, her haircut's cute.
It must be an Asian thing. It must be an Asian thing. I will say that, from a lending perspective, I'm still seeing activity downtown. It's not, yes, it's kind of held a little bit, but it's coming from out of state. So I don't know how much you network out of state from the coasts, but I think there may be some opportunity there because the jobs still are coming to Chicago. And the activity I have, even if you're looking like Wisconsin, Madison, coming from kind of the different schools, just networking from there. And then the coasts really like us. And a lot of movement in the education sector too. I've had a few different people move from Nashville, which you kind of hear the opposite. So they're moving in from the educational sector and the medical sector. So Rush, UIC, UofC, and always Northwestern. So just some feedback there, a couple different things.
Interesting.
Can they only explore the forbearance option once? Like, how does that work?
I'm on the origination side, so I apologize. I'm not an expert on the forbearance. I think it depends on every servicer as well. So my suggestion when clients call me is I will suggest they call their servicer. Depends on their circumstance, and it depends on the size of the loan and what their protocol is. So I've just been suggesting clients call their servicer on it. I know that you cannot finance if you're under forbearance on a different property. So you would need to come even on that forbearance in order for us to move forward on a new property.
So just to chime in, I'm seeing a lot of what I saw last time from the meeting, which was stuff in the 2 to 5 range or 2 to 6 range per se. So moving fairly quickly, but again, the luxury market, everything over like 800-900, it just takes so much more work and time to sell in my experience. And Tammy, maybe you could add to this too. Last time I checked, jumbo loans required like 20% down. Are we still there right now? Are they still looking at that, or can we put down less for a jumbo loan?
So I think it depends on the institution. I'm hearing a lot of the larger institutions, Big Blue, Big Red, without naming them, are requiring a greater down payment, 20%. But there's still a lot of opportunity jumbo-wise for 5% down, up to a certain amount, like $650 loan amount. And then 10% down is readily available across the board. And one product that I don't think gets used enough, and it's certainly an industry that's been very busy in our current pandemic situation, is the doctor loan. So that doctor loan has some incredible opportunity right there. It's for medical professionals, which include veterinarians and dentists as well. But jumbo financing is finally starting to level off, where it's coming closer. So, as you know, the agencies, Fannie and Freddie, their pricing typically is below. But a long time, jumbo financing was right behind it, maybe a 0.25% differential. When COVID hit, yes, we saw at least 1.5 points. It was crazy. I mean, it was wackadoo. But now we're seeing the 30-year fix on the jumbo side about 3.5. But where there's opportunity is in these longer-term ARMs. And I know ARMs have a bad stigma from years past, but there's now 15-1 ARMs. And that's a 30-year amortized mortgage, but the interest rate's locked for 15 years. That product historically performs super well, and it is long enough for like 95%, especially of the people that we're selling to here in the Chicagoland area. They're not in their mortgage longer than 4 years, and typically not in their home longer than 8 to 9. So that 15-year product goes a long way. And we're looking at that 15-year on the jumbo, probably, I think I just priced one out. It was 3 and
Is it just me? Okay.
Yeah, I think we lost her.
Yep.
Back.
Can you repeat that rate again?
Yeah.
Right at the good part.
The good part.
I'll be right back. Hold on.
Okay, she's got to go.
That's so funny. Multitasking. That's good stuff.
I know, I love it, driving along.
That's why I try to have.
Isn't that
people
cool?
be
You can
subtle.
have meetings while you're driving.
I try to have people be settled while I'm a guy. I can't multitask. I'm not even gonna
No, we
try to.
cannot.
No. Dennis is with me.
Yeah. Danny, you're right though. The high end stuff's sitting too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's brutal, man. I actually just got fired from a listing today, and it was I worked so hard on this thing. We gave a price suggestion of like 865 back in March. They wanted to do 950. COVID hits, and of course, we're taking the blame when there's no one showing up for showings. So yeah, it's just been rough in the luxury market. But yeah, everything in the 4 to 5 range has been moving pretty well, and I've been happy about that. It's just been really funny to see like the evolution of this whole COVID thing. When we started, we're all talking about how new everything is, and how everyone's wearing masks and all these virtual tour stuff. And now we're like 3 or 4 months into it, and it's really funny, or I wouldn't say funny, but strange to see this transition of what we're dealing with before the COVID market transforming into what we're dealing with now. It's like a mixture of both old of what's going on with everything else new at the same time. So it's been interesting to watch people adapt. I mean, we're not having those conversations about virtual tours as much anymore. We're not talking about seeing things on the screens. We're actually seeing them in person now, which is great. But we still have a bunch of, everything left over in terms of wearing masks and how everything in terms of protocol has changed. So it's just been really weird to see this real estate market just kind of morph with this evolution of COVID.
Agreed.
So now, can you hear me again?
Yes.
Okay. It was Christina, it was 3 1/8 to 3 1/4 on the 15-1 arm on a jumbo. So it's super attractive.
Wow.
Money's on clearance sale. And I've had this conversation a lot with many of your clients. I've worked with almost all of you. I think Tyrone, I haven't worked with you, and Sharon, I haven't worked with you in quite some time. But other ones, we've been on deals just lately together. So, I get this conversation a lot. People are asking, I just thought I'd find a deal in the market. I'm like, oh, there's plenty. And they'll, really? And I was like, yeah, it's in the money.
Right.
The lack of, where the reduced interest rate is saving you somewhere between 10 and 15% just this year, if we compare rates from the beginning of the year to now. So I'm sure you're all having that conversation, but I know I'm having it on your behalf on a regular basis and kind of crystallizing it with the difference in numbers. Because, man, money's on clearance sales, on fire sale. A 15-year fix is at 2.375. And then
Oh my God.
Yeah, and an FHA 30-year fix is at 2 1/4. 2 1/4.
So the discussions we have to have is, what is it going to cost you to wait this thing out? Do not wait.
But that's why I give them that differential. So sometimes they're looking for 5-6% off, right? But if 1% in interest rate is 10% in buying power. So I just had this conversation this morning. She was waiting. She's like, I just thought I'd get more of a discount. I'm like, Carmen, your money is at a 15% discount from when you started looking late last year. 15%. Yeah. So, and then I calculated how much she would save over time on the interest keeping this home, because it's a multi-unit. She's going to live in one and keep it for a while. But engage your lending partners in that conversation. Get whatever you need to get and get people over the hump, because we've never seen money this cheap.
Yeah,
it's true.
So I'm curious, are you all doing video, like in doing more video for communication's sake, or you're trying to implement that into your marketing strategies more on like whether it's process or updates? Are you finding that useful?
I can speak for myself and say that not as much as like 2 months ago. So like come April, March, I don't think I saw anyone in person, obviously. But I would say in the last like couple weeks or month or so, there's been a lot more in-person stuff and a lot less video.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But you're not finding the video. So you're still doing all your updates on the phone to like sellers and everything? The video doesn't help there?
I personally email for my updates. And you mean like in terms of like a weekly update with sellers about listings is what you're talking about? Yeah,
That would
email.
help.
I didn't really think
Email.
about doing video. It's not a terrible idea, but usually they want to see like facts and stuff on paper, so that's why I usually do video or emails for that.
Yeah, well, you email the video and you can do like, you can incorporate and still attach to it. I don't know. I was just trying to give you an idea because sometimes being in the lending side, I used to always be on the phone, and
Yep.
and then I started to incorporate video last year, and video has really helped me continue to get tighter with people. So I thought maybe, I don't know, man, the luxury stuff is not ideal right now, and right there, jumbo financing is really tough too. And it doesn't move as fast. So
Yep.
it's hard. Is there any my counterparts in the lending industry and offer any suggestions of how us lenders can help?
Tammy, I think like you hit the nail on the head. I throw a bunch of stuff out to my clients without really data and backup support. So when you start talking about running numbers versus just telling them, oh, money's cheap, you got to do it now. But to say, if you purchase a $400,000 condo where the interest rate is today versus if it goes up a point or a point and a half in the next 12 months, which is very realistic, look at the difference in your monthly cost. That seems like powerful stuff. So that seems like a huge help.
Okay. Well, then I'll start dripping that more so that we share it more. I don't think we share very well with you guys. And I'm sorry for that from an industry perspective. So please let me know if I can beat on my own people.
Yeah, that 15-year jumbo, is that something that we could go back to our past clients and say, hey, you should refinance? Like, here, are you going to be in there for 15 years or 10 years? It gives us a reason to reach out to them with something of value. And then we can also put the feeler out like, hey, you want to refinance for 15 years? You want to sell?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Or how long, or save the money over the short period of time. Like, what's your timeline on selling and save the 200 to 300 over the next however many months? You may as well, right? That 15-1 ARM is a pretty cool product, and then the 15-1 that's 2.375. Just for clarification's sake, that is a conventional loan, not the jumbo. The 2.375 is a fixed.
Yeah, got that.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
But still, that's probably better than what we put our buyers in 2018 and 2019. They could still refinance now at that.
These are the lowest rates. The last time we were in the threes, just for perspective's sake, if you're trying to gauge your database, is 2013. So we were in the fours well into the 18 and 19, and then we've come back down, obviously. I was curious, like, are you seeing more buyers come with, like, what questions are you getting from the buyers? Because they seem more educated, not more educated, it's a bad word to say, bad way to, but they're doing so much more research online. And, they come all knowing, of course, but are they asking different questions now in COVID than they were before?
I'm actually curious of that. Like, how do you prepare for those conversations? Like,
For me, just my buyer meeting searching process has been modified, but the questions are all the same. It's just we're doing Zoom meetings instead of in-person meetings. We're trying to weed out what we're going to see. We no longer go out on a Saturday and see 6 or 7 properties. We really are mindful about which ones we're going to, go in. If something's a little funky online, maybe it's not worth seeing if there's 3 other ones that are.
I think it's making the buyers be a little bit more selective about what they do want to go see, which is kind of helpful.
Which is probably nice for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Jeff and Barbara, you do a lot of new construction and you still do development sales. What are you seeing on the new construction kind of development side?
Jeff is, we lost Jeff.
I'll chime in, not because I'm smart, but buddy developer, you know, who he uses me from time to time. I probably hadn't worked with him in 3 or 4 years. So he gave me a 3-unit new construction development on 2600 block of Dayton. And I thought we went in at ludicrous prices. And now we negotiated a good bit off those asking prices that we went to market at. But I sold all 3 units in 2 weeks. It's almost embarrassing. So
No, that's nice.
shocked me. That shocked me. I did not see it coming, and closed the first one today, but it was like from start to finish, from going to market to 3 closings will be like 60 days.
When you say ludicrous, did you mean ludicrous high or ludicrous low?
Ludicrous high.
Oh, okay. So that's even more surprising they sold that quickly then.
Exactly.
When did you put them under contract? Like what month did you?
Man, let's just figure. So it's July 15th. You know, probably, first, second week in June, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it was kind of rocking and rolling then. No, it's because you priced it right.
No,
That
I
was
didn't.
good. That was good, Christina. I like the back pedal there. That was
Yeah. Well, that's what's so funny is, we have those tough conversations with sellers like, listen, if we don't price this to market, I don't care if it's new or not, let's not go out there and then start chasing the market down and go right past to what we could have gotten. And I just kind of, did what he said, and he said, I'll negotiate. I know what the other sales are. He had another building a block away that he sold a year ago. He said, I know what the values are, but let's just start here. And we did, and we negotiated way off the asking price, but we got 3 buyers, which kind of throw all the rules out the window on this one, So it was timing, and incredibly savvy listing broker. So who knows? Like, I just didn't see that coming at all.
I've had a couple of those too. I had a seller who wanted to do a multi-unit, a 3-unit building, and I think it appraised or was worth around $750. He wanted to start at $825, and I just thought he was fucking nuts. And we wound up getting 3 offers on it, and yeah, we're going to close at $760, like well under what he wanted. But the fact that people still wanted to see it and place offers just blew my mind. That, my experience in real estate, that's just kind of what I've learned, is that you can't have any expectations. There's sometimes deals that you think you're going to sit on forever that get, multiple offers. Then there's deals that you think are going to be gone in the first week that get no showing requests. It just, it's the name of the game.
Yeah,
It's true.
the longer we do this, I think the less I know, that's for sure.
It's like life. It's just life in
Yeah,
general.
good point. Let's
It's
talk
like
about my parenting skills at the
I was
next.
just it's like parenting, but that's a different.
Hardest
That's a
thing
different.
I've ever done.
That's a different Zoom call. That I will. You could just Facebook Live my life, and this is what not to do. Yeah. Janelle, I'm curious. You've been kind of quiet, so what are just
Learning
unique things? No, what are unique things that you're doing? Because your business model, I mean, obviously, is unique. But I'm just curious what you're doing to help realtors, or just anything that you've been doing that would in your own industry that has helped foster growth, or how you're helping just realtors in general.
For us, it's all about the relationship building. And to Tammy's point earlier, I've been doing tons of video, and it's one of the best ways that we've found to engage people that are sitting at home, especially if they've got kids and stuff too. We're making things that are speaking to different age groups and experimenting with that. And it's all just shot on my phone, and then I use like a simple editor, but most of the time it can just be like a quick upload to YouTube. And that is great too, because then as you add content, it's like you're getting traction on the web organically from people looking you up and your history and involvement and stuff too. So video has been working really great for us. I know it's totally different, language. It's not speaking to, necessarily people trying to buy homes all the time. We do have a segment of our audience that definitely involves new homeowners and, the need for termite inspections and things like that. But there's been so many reasons to kind of capitalize on the rat populations getting out of control in the city. And like, I'm curious if you guys are running into scenarios where that becomes an issue and prevents you from, essentially selling a property. Is like, have you ever run into that where there's just an issue and you're just like, how do these people live like this? There's always interesting stories, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's affecting you guys like it is us. I've been on the news a bit lately. I've been doing Facebook Live with WGN, getting a lot of exposure, even right here from my desk, doing radio segments and stuff. So it's definitely different for me. I'm not face to face with people, but we're still able to communicate on lots of different digital platforms. So it's working pretty well.
That's cool. It does seem like that the rat population is blowing up. I mean, I'm getting calls, so I got to get your contact info, which I will do now.
Yeah, please. I'm here to help. It's crazy because like when businesses close and all the restaurants closed down, there weren't dumpsters for these rats to feed off of. They all flocked to residential zones. And now that they are opening back up, they're going back to those dumpsters. So now they're in both places. There's more of them. And it's like, it's just craziness. So, yeah, let me know if you guys run into any kind of roach situation or rodents or anything. I'm here to help.
Cool.
Super cool. On a side note, we actually just hired Janelle and Rose to come out, and I live on a corner lot butting an alley, so that's all I'm going to say. And that's all I have to say about that in my best Forrest Gump voice, I'm curious.
Like a week ago, I hired, unfortunately.
Oh, sorry, Tyrone, you cut out.
No, I was saying, yeah, same here. Unfortunately, Janelle, I hired working about a week or so ago.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, unfortunately. But
well,
I know.
When you get sick of them, give me a call.
Janelle, do you only work in this area?
No, we have 11 offices. I even have offices in Northwest Indiana. So we have a team of like 150 technicians. I can have them out the same day for termite inspections. You have PA lawn stuff.
My son-in-law in California just spent $100,000 getting rats out of the walls.
Oh,
No.
that sounds terrible.
And he's had to do it twice. Now, the second time it wasn't as much, but it was still sizable, but it was a nightmare. And this is Brentwood, which is near the Beverly Hills and big house. And it was awful. So anyway, I just wondered if you did any work in the West Coast, because they really have a problem.
Rose used to be coast to coast. We date back to 1860. We're literally like the first document control business. Yeah. And so there used to be offices from New Jersey all the way to San Francisco, but obviously like back in the early 1900s, the family people didn't want to carry on the business and it was franchised out. So now there's 2 existing franchises of Rose left. There's ours based in Chicago. Our headquarters is actually in Northfield, right off the Eatons. I'm sure you've seen it off the Road exit. And then there's another franchise based in Detroit. And they're similar, but they're owned by a bigger company. And we are 3 generations of a family business, still doing our thing. We have kind of old school relationship missions, and that's just how we do business. So it's been great. The family's great. You may have heard of Robert Dold, D-O-L-D. He ran for Congress a couple of times in the past. Yeah.
So I'm curious, just as a I think every transitioning marketplace has massive opportunity, and I know there's opportunity in this market, and I'm curious as to where people think that's going to be.
Good question.
Suburbs.
For investors.
Somebody say the suburbs.
Christina, what were you saying, Tyrone? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I just want to understand the question a little better, as in like for primary occupancy or investments, like which one?
It could be in anything. I just really see that every transitioning marketplace leads to opportunity. So where do you see the opportunity in this next marketplace?
For me, I'll say the west side of Chicago as far as like investment opportunities.
Like Garfield Park and
Yes, as far as
there?
like North Lawndale, East Garfield, those
Okay.
areas.
There is a lot of traffic. Breweries that way too. Okay.
Hey, I'm curious, like what are people doing to sort of feed their pipeline in like for like the fall and the winter months, or are people just kind of laser focused on the now? But I'm sure, you know, realtors always try to think, you know, 3 months, 6 months down the line. So I'm just curious if anybody's been doing any getting creative, getting fun with you know, keeping the pipeline full, you know, for September, October, and even as we move to, I know we don't want to think about it now, but it will happen. Time does go on. The earth, you know, circles around the sun and days pass, so it will happen. But like what people are doing to keep the pipeline plush for you know, the as we get closer to December and January as well, if anything.
Like right now, we're just trying to get whatever we can while the getting's good. That's how I feel.
For sure. You know, I think just like a lot of people did, I used that time when we were locked in to reach out to all my clients who I haven't talked to in years, you know, who I sold to a long time ago, to just check in to see how they're doing. And that has kind of paid off now. They have started to reach out again. I got like 2 or 3 listings out of it, which is great. But yeah, I mean, it was a great opportunity to use, you know, a terrible thing, coronavirus, as a way to reach back out to people who you haven't talked to in a long time. Now, what I do moving forward, I don't know, to be honest, because we're busy again and it's back to almost normal, I want to say. But, you know, come fall and winter, like you were saying, Andy, we'll have to probably, you know, rethink that and figure out how we can, you know, use those connections and to next year as well.
For me, what I did like really early on in COVID, I have like a database of like my VIPs. There's like 60 past clients on these VIP lists. I sent them a gift like pretty early on in COVID, like right before April 1st, and got a lot of like text messages and emails, and that kind of opened the door to communicate how you doing, you're working from home, how's the e-learning going. And then right as they were like that last week in May, right when they were talking about open up stores and restaurants and hair salons, I sent another gift to those same 60. And it was like, I collaborated with a small business on division called Neighborly, and it was like a Chicago themed gift. It was a bag with a mug and like some stuff in it. And it was kind of like, hey, as we reopen the economy, think about all the hardships of the small business. And I got even more, you're again texting. And at that point, you know, they had been in their homes for 2 months. So when a couple of them said, hey, we want to move to the burbs, it was kind of nice because they didn't even interview anybody else because I just bought their love with these 2 gifts over the last few months or whatever. So it was like, okay, come in, sign listing agreement and out. And I got like 3 of them. And I'm not like a 3 listings a month kind of gal. So it was pretty nice for me.
That's brilliant.
That's cool. That's a good takeaway. What would you mind if I ask what the price point? I mean, you don't have to say the exact.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad. It was like $25 to $35 per person.
It wasn't like a Tiffany's bracelet. No big deal.
No.
I'm kidding. No, that's cool. So you figure, yeah, 30 times 60.
And then the gal from the shop put like a $25 or 25% off so that they could hopefully then go to her shop.
Oh, that's smart.
So good. So good.
But I got to kind of keep it, you know, you always got to come up with new ideas, and you're just kind of, and then you get busy and then you forget.
Yeah. No,
so why don't you just hire someone to do your gifting program?
Yeah, I know.
I'm just saying the obvious. I mean,
yeah, I know. I have a gal that I do.
The person.
Yeah, I have a gal that I should. Yeah, that is true. There's At Properties has a program that I utilize for the first one, but like can't be all their brand all the time. So
No,
you kind of have to.
I would like birthday program, house anniversary. That's always a good one right after closing. I do a ton of gifting, and that's where all my business comes from.
Yeah, people like it, and then they feel like they owe you something.
Well, you know, they just remember, they feel remembered. Like when they have a baby, then they get a baby blanket. So just hire someone. You got it. You guys are really good at selling real estate. You just need someone else to do your gifting for you. That's all.
Yeah.
Right?
March 10th comes around next year. Hey, remember COVID last year when I sent you this gift? Well, here's the 1-year anniversary of COVID. Okay. But that's
a really good idea.
That'll probably get a chuckle. I know Janelle's shaking her head. We have the same sense of humor, which isn't necessarily a good thing.
Coronaversary, right?
Oh, boom! See, there you go. A Corona 6-pack. Sorry.
Yeah. Happy Coronaversary.
But you know, I'll jump in just a little bit. I haven't said much of anything, but you know, part of my practice, completely irrelevant to you good folks, is estate planning. And one of the things that we've really seen out of the COVID is people are concerned right now because of the illness, but that's going to go away eventually. But you're still going to have the same concerns. And the reason it tripped my memory, you know, the 1-year anniversary for COVID may not be bad for you folks, because you can go back to clients and say, hey, Andy, last year in March, you approached us about moving because you had outgrown your house, but then you had shelter in place. You know, a year's rolled by. What are you looking to do this year? I mean, I think it's a built-in reminder to be able to go back to folks and say, hey, needs and circumstances have changed. Are you ready to get back out in the marketplace? And you guys know this better than I do, but you know, that kind of nudge might be enough for the husband to acquiesce to the wife, or vice versa, and say, yeah, you're right. We need to move. We put it off for a year, and now's the time. Let's do it.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Good thought. I love it.
So take that, Mr. Morbid Humor.
Oh, I have one rule in my household. It's if you can't take it, don't dish it out. And so, you know, that's pretty much my only rule. So I love it. That's good stuff. Yeah. Anything else? I mean, this is your guys' time. I got a hard stop at in probably 17 minutes, but you know, we don't have to go till 5. I also was curious too. Are these times good? Do you guys like the 4 to 5 time clock, or if there was an ideal time for one of these little collaboration sessions, what would it be? If you could pick a time.
Keeping me more sober than usual at 2 on a Friday, I tell you that much.
I mean, yeah, Andy, you're asking a bunch of realtors about time. I think you know the answer to that question.
Okay.
So,
No, this is good. I think it's good.
I try to throw them out and, hey, make it or not make it. But if somebody's like, I'd rather do it 9 to 10 a.m., you know, I just was curious if this was good or
I'd
not.
love to do it from 7 to 8 a.m. But
I'm with you. I'm an early morning person. That 7 to 8 a.m. time slot is golden.
It really is. I get so much done. You know what? I'm curious, Tyrone, you've only been doing this 3 years. You've been selling real estate 3 years. Maybe you can't hear me.
It was muted.
He's muted. He's muted.
Oh,
yes.
So you have massive producers on this call. Anything you know that you either copied off of them, or I don't know, anything that we can throw out to. I just wish at 3 years, when I was 3 years in the business, someone would give me a tip that really, helped me compound my business.
So yeah, so full transparency, of course, I definitely look forward to following up with a lot of each and every one of you to kind of pick your brain and your experience here in the industry. You know, when I started off, I actually was doing real estate part-time. I still felt as if it treated me well, but I didn't go in there. I didn't hit the ground, I guess, running full force in a sense. I didn't go full time and just dive in. So I actually just recently transitioned out of working full time in psychiatry to real estate. So I guess that's inpatient psychiatry to outpatient psychiatry.
That's right.
Yeah, right.
But, you know,
Same
some of the
industry.
questions I did want to, you know, follow back some of you in the sense was that, you know, I considered saying, hey, you know, do I grow my business by trying to add and develop a team? Or do I try to, you know, get it all as a one-man show because maybe I'm not prepared to run a team? So I kind of struggle back and forth with that, you know, as I get business all over from the metropolitan area, you know, I don't want to be driving all around by myself in a sense, but at the same time, I can grow my business and learn that way. So I guess the first question would be, you know, what is your take on teams? As well as
yeah, Dennis, or I mean, I can start with that too.
Go ahead. Yeah, go, Danny.
So there's only one of you, right, Tyrone?
yes.
So everyone always says the great thing about real estate or these types of jobs in general is there's no ceiling to what you can make. That is a lie. There is a ceiling if it's just you. When you involve more people and you get more people to help grow your business, then there is no ceiling for the most part. So my advice is to do what I did when I was a year into it, and that's get an assistant. Even if you don't think you need it right now, even if you don't have enough business that you think to sustain one right now, it will open you up to so many more possibilities with the time that you'll have, that it'll just change your life. I mean, you're doing everything now right, and you probably learned at this point, I'm sure, how to set up showings, how to schedule everything at this point. Now you got to have someone else take over that, because a lot of that stuff just is stuff that just sucks your time. It just takes it all away. So when you have someone else helping you out and someone else adding to your business, then there really is no ceiling to what you can make. But for now, there is, because it's just one of you.
Okay.
Good answer.
One good, one hard yes, of course. Thanks again.
I was seriously just gonna say, Danny, is that a yes or a no, or can you be a little bit more clear on that? I'm just kidding.
He said one.
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
That's definitely.
That's a good answer.
And
Dennis knows too.
well, I'll just say, yeah, my biggest regret is not hiring an assistant sooner. So Danny hit the nail right on the head. That doesn't mean go out there tomorrow, but, you know, reach out to some of us and say, how did you do it? What was the process? Where should the revenue be? The other thing is go after every business opportunity that comes, because you could always leverage colleagues. You know, I'm at the point now where, like Danny said, when you're doing it yourself, you know, your bandwidth just gets maxed, and it's just that simple. And then you just get cut off. But, you know, to partner in on deals, giving somebody, you know, a percentage of a deal to cover showings or buyers, like everyone's out there, and, you know, there's a lot of hungry brokers out there that have time. So you can utilize that. So start making allies with your colleagues. And the only thing that I think I disagree with on this whole call, Andy, when we started, and, you know, I say this kind of tongue in cheek, we mentioned, you know, we're all competitors, but we really are collaborators, right?
Yeah.
I mean, now I know there's folks that do a lot more than I do, but if I may get into 3 competitive listing presentations a year, I mean, that's it. It's like, it's my sphere, and, you know, as long as I continue to take care of them, that's typically going to be my bid. And Tyrone and I aren't going to be bumping into each other, fighting over listings. So we can all help each other, and like that goes on at some point. But, you know, lean on each other for help, and then that allows your bandwidth to grow. But definitely put on a, you know, whether it's a 1-year or a 3-year plan is what Danny said, is you get that admin help, and literally the business grows because you have so much more time to focus on the revenue generating activities, if that makes sense.
I'm going to springboard off that, what Dennis just said. I agree with both of them. And I think a great exercise to do with yourself is write down everything that needs to be done in a transaction on a buy side and a sale side. And then circle what you like to do and do more of that, and hire someone to do the other stuff.
Yeah,
That's
I like
awesome. That's awesome.
You know, like, you may love listings, or you may love developers, or you may love buyers, and you just need to figure out what you love and what makes you run, because someone else, for as crazy as it sounds, loves to do the data entry and loves to go show these homes and loves to go if that's not your jam. So that's my suggestion. Just write it all down and hire quickly, and ask, man, that Dennis is right, so right. Like, this should be a collaborative effort, and build your network that way. So when people see your name, right? When Dennis sees your name, Danny sees your name, Christina sees your name, Jeff, Barbara, whoever, and they see your name and they go, yep, Tyrone, I like that one. We're going to get this deal done. I think there's huge credence to that I think somehow gets lost. But yeah, build a team. Now, the only add-on I would say to that is I think when you build a team, I think you have to be careful. Sometimes it can seem attractive. People are like, oh, have like all these buyer's agents and listing agents, and then now you're managing instead of selling. But if you love selling, then you just took away your own joy. So sometimes building the team, you know, can morph into something else, and all you're doing is managing instead of actually selling. So you just need to see what you enjoy doing.
Good.
It's cool. Good stuff. No, and I want to be
to
respectful. I want to be respectful. I was just going to save everybody else's time. So does anybody have any final thoughts? As that came out of my mouth, I was like, maybe we're on an episode of Jerry Springer or something. Anybody have any final thoughts? Not that I've ever watched that show or anything. I do have a final thought, if it's cool. So this will take not super long, but we just launched the Real Producers app. Hooray. I'm like super pumped. Let's see here. I'm going to try to do this screen share. So if you have not downloaded it, it is, I'm trying to get this to sync to my iPad. Okay, give me a sec. Screen mirroring. Andy's MacBook. Everybody see that? I know it's blurry.
Yes.
All right, cool. So check it out. This is straight from, has all the past issues. So you touch an issue like that, and it's fully, all the partners are on there. There's cover. You can slide across it. Everybody see that? Okay.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So if you go to, we did a little, let me flip through this. I think it's on like page, there it is right there. So if you go to, it's called Digipub, D-I-G-A, P as in Paul, U, B as in boy. Yeah, search that. You got to create an account. It's free. Sometimes you have to refresh it. It'll ask, I think sometimes it asks for like a confirmation code. Just hit back and then do it again. Choose Illinois, choose Chicago Real Producers. And currently it's free. All of our partners have access to it. They'll probably start charging for it eventually. So once you get the copy on your phone, you won't have to charge it. But you have access to all the past issues, all the links to the events and stuff. So it's just something that we're doing to give more people access to the platform. So we're excited about it. We're supposed to do this in 2021. It's just one little small productive thing that we've done with the stay-at-home order. So we've sunk a chunk of change into it, but it's just something unique. You can go back to all the past issues. So
Very cool, Andy. I like that.
Yeah, so that's it. Yeah, so I'll if you're interested in hopping on another one of these, that's why we do these, just to kind of reconnect the communities. Feel free and just email me. I will send everybody's contact info if you want to reach out separately. But have a happy, productive Friday, and everybody stay sane and healthy and safe. All right.
Thanks
Have a
for
good
doing
night,
this,
Andy.
everybody.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Andy.
Peace.
guys.
See you guys.
Adios.
Bye.
Bye-bye.